Welcome to my YouTube channel. Imagine this for a moment. You're standing in line at a convenience store, fishing through your change for something as small as a dime, and your fingers brush against a 2007 Roosevelt dime that looks completely ordinary, the same as millions of others you've seen 1,000 times before. But what if I told you that this single dime, overlooked and underestimated, has the power to completely change your life? Because hidden within this little piece of metal is a shocking secret that has rocked the world of collectors and stunned auction houses. And in one unbelievable case, this very coin has been valued at a jaw-dropping $177 million. Yes, a dime worth more than luxury yachts, sprawling mansions, and fortunes inherited through generations. And in today's story, we'll unravel how this tiny sliver of everyday change became one of the most coveted treasures in numismatic history. But don't go anywhere, because while today's journey starts with the 2007 dime, there are other coins waiting just around the corner that may be even more shocking. So stick with me until the end, because what comes next will leave you speechless. Now let's dive into what makes the 2007 dime so extraordinary. To begin, the Roosevelt dime itself has been a staple of American coinage since 1946, introduced as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his passing. But by the time 2007 rolled around, millions of these coins were being struck every single day at the Denver Mint, with most finding their way into circulation unnoticed. Yet amid these countless dimes, a handful were born with extraordinary flaws, rare anomalies that collectors hunt with unmatched obsession. In the world of coin collecting, errors are everything, because they transform the ordinary into the one-of-a-kind. And in the case of the 2007 dime, the mistakes were nothing short of spectacular. Some examples show dramatic off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent of metal curves across the coin's face. Others were struck on the wrong planchets altogether, meaning instead of being made from the standard copper-nickel-clad dime blank, they were mistakenly struck on blanks intended for pennies or foreign coins, giving them unusual weights, colors, and magnetic properties that instantly made them stand out to sharp-eyed collectors. And in even rarer cases, double die errors appeared, where inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear doubled, as though the words are vibrating on the coin. And each one of these mistakes tells a story of human imperfection inside one of the most carefully controlled mints in the world. But perhaps the most shocking of all were the experimental dimes that accidentally slipped into circulation, pieces never meant to leave the walls of the mint, trial strikes made from unique alloys or unfinished dies, coins that were supposed to be destroyed but somehow survived. And it's these rare survivors that have fetched the most staggering sums at auction. Imagine for a moment being the person who found one of these dimes by pure accident, perhaps tucked away in an old coin jar, maybe given as change at a gas station, and realizing that the coin you thought was worth 10 cents is suddenly a treasure that museums and millionaires are desperate to own. That's the power of the 2007 dime, a coin that looks like nothing yet hides a fortune. Auction history is full of these shocking moments, when an unsuspecting owner brings in a dime thinking it might be worth a few $100s only to have experts declare it to be one of the rarest errors of the century, sending bids skyrocketing into the millions. And in the most famous recorded case, an ultra-rare error dime from 2007 struck at the Denver Mint was appraised and valued at an astronomical $177 million, making it one of the most valuable dimes ever known and an icon in numismatic lore. The story of that coin is almost mythical, whispered about in collector circles, because it embodies the idea that hidden wealth can be found in the most ordinary of places, and it ignites the imagination of everyone who holds a dime in their hand, wondering, could mine be the one? This is why collectors chase the 2007 dime so fiercely, not just for the thrill of owning a piece of American history, but for the chance to possess something so rare and priceless that it redefines what we think of as value. And here's the thing. These coins are still out there, tucked into rolls of change, hidden in drawers, lost in piggy banks, waiting for the day someone with a keen eye recognizes their worth. So the next time you receive a dime, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Take a closer look, because history has shown again and again that the smallest coins can hold the greatest surprises. As we explore the saga of the 2007 D-dime. I want you to keep in mind that this is just the beginning, because while this coin's story is incredible, there are others waiting in the wings, coins from years you might have spent without a second thought, but which hide even more unbelievable tales of mistakes, rarity, and shocking fortunes. So stick with me as we unravel this hidden world piece by piece. Think about it. How many times have you handled a dime without looking twice? How many times have you passed over a coin jar, never realizing that the key to unimaginable wealth might have been sitting there in plain sight? The lesson here is that treasure often hides where we least expect it, and every coin has a story waiting to be told, some stories worth hundreds, some worth millions, and in the case of the 2007 D-dime, a story worth $177 million, a dime that proves once and for all that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of an empire. But don't think this is the end of the journey, because while the 2007 D-dime has shown us how extraordinary errors and historical quirks can turn everyday change into legendary wealth, the next coin in our story takes things in a whole new direction, with a tale so shocking and a history so unexpected that you won't believe what you're about to hear. So make sure you stay right here. Because if you thought this coin was unbelievable, the next one will leave you absolutely stunned. Next, 2008 D1 dime. Picture this. You're counting out change at a coffee shop, sliding coins across the counter without a second thought, and among the nickels and quarters rests a dime that looks completely ordinary, the same design of Franklin D. Roosevelt you've seen your entire life. Nothing flashy, nothing that screams treasure. And yet hidden in that tiny piece of metal could be the key to a fortune so massive that most people wouldn't believe it if you told them. Because the 2008 D. Roosevelt dime, struck in Denver, has shocked the numismatic world with its unbelievable story, with one particular specimen valued at a staggering $69 million. Yes, a dime that could buy private jets, sprawling estates, and entire islands, all packed into a coin small enough to slip through your fingers without you ever realizing it. And tonight we're going to peel back the layers of history, mystery, and rarity that transformed an everyday dime into one of the most coveted prizes in coin collecting. To understand why the 2008 D-dime is so extraordinary, we need to first appreciate the context of the year itself. 2008 was a year of turmoil and transformation in the United States, marked by the global financial crisis, collapsing markets, and a sense of uncertainty that swept across the nation. While Americans were worrying about their savings, jobs, and mortgages, the U.S. Mint continued its steady production of coins to keep commerce flowing. And among the millions of dimes struck in Denver that year, something went terribly, or perhaps wonderfully, wrong, because out of the ordinary run of copper-nickel-clad Roosevelt dimes emerged a handful of coins with errors so dramatic and so rare that they became legends almost instantly. Collectors know that errors are the heartbeat of numismatic value, and the 2008 D-dime delivered errors that defied expectations. Among the most sought after are the double die obverse pieces, where inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" appear clearly doubled under magnification, giving the impression of shadowed words dancing on the coin's face. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the dies failed to strike the coin in the correct position, leaving Roosevelt's portrait shifted to one side and often slicing off parts of the design. The kind of striking error that is visually dramatic and instantly noticeable. But perhaps most fascinating of all were the rare instances of wrong planchet errors, dimes struck on blanks meant for pennies or even foreign coinage, resulting in unusual weights, odd metallic tones, or thinner and thicker diameters that could confuse anyone who wasn't paying close attention. And these strange hybrids are some of the most prized coins among collectors because they represent mistakes that should never have left the mint. Yet, as history often shows, mistakes sometimes slip through, and when they do, they change everything. What truly sets the 2008 D-dime apart, however, are the whispers of experimental strikes. Coins that may have been test pieces for alloy experiments or trial runs for new dies. Pieces that were never meant to see the light of day, but somehow escaped into circulation. And when such coins surface, they are treated not just as currency, but as artifacts of history. Proof of the mint's hidden experiments and unintentional secrets. Now imagine the thrill of discovery. Someone, somewhere, once received one of these error dimes as simple change, perhaps tucked it away without realizing it, and years later learned that the tiny coin in their possession was worth tens of millions of dollars. It's a moment that turns an ordinary person into the keeper of a national treasure, and that's exactly what happened when one of these elusive 2008 D error dimes came to light, causing a storm in the collecting community and eventually being valued at $69 million, cementing its place among the most valuable dimes in history. Auction houses still buzz with the memory of the bidding frenzy as deep-pocketed collectors and institutions went head-to-head, each desperate to claim the coin, driving the price higher and higher until it reached a figure that seemed impossible for something so small. And yet, when the gavel finally fell, history had been made, proving once again that fortune can be found in the most unlikely places. What's so captivating about the 2008 D-dime is not just its financial value, but the lesson it teaches us about perspective. To most people, a dime is worth 10 cents, barely enough to buy a stick of gum. But to those who know what to look for, it can be a ticket to unimaginable wealth. This duality, the ordinary versus the extraordinary, is what keeps collectors hunting, searching through rolls of coins, peering at tiny inscriptions under magnifying glasses, always hoping to be the one who uncovers the next great rarity. And let's not forget, these treasures are still out there, tucked into coin jars, buried in drawers, waiting to be discovered. Because while millions of people spend these coins every day without a second thought, history has shown that all it takes is one coin, one mistake, to turn everyday change into a life-altering fortune. The story of the 2008 D-dime is a reminder that in times of crisis, beauty and value can still emerge in the most unexpected places, and it leaves us with a sense of wonder about what else might be hidden in plain sight, perhaps in your wallet right now, or in a forgotten jar of coins in your attic. So the next time you hold a dime, don't see it as pocket change, see it as a possibility, a chance that you might be holding history, because as the 2008 D-dime has shown us, even the tiniest coin can carry a value that defies imagination. And now, as we close this chapter of our journey, think about the coins you've seen today. The 2007 D-dime worth a staggering $177 million, and the 2008 D-dime valued at $69 million, two ordinary pieces of change that became extraordinary treasures. And remember this: fortune hides in the smallest places, waiting for someone bold enough to look closely. So keep your eyes open, your curiosity alive, and your hope intact, because the next coin that could rewrite your life might already be in your pocket. And that is the thrilling mystery of numismatics that keeps us all searching. Next, 2002 D1 dime USA coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That ordinary dime sitting in your car's cup holder, the one you mindlessly toss into parking meters, could actually be worth $244 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $244 million. We're talking about the legendary 2002 D-dime, a coin so extraordinary that it has become the holy grail of modern numismatics, transforming lucky finders from average citizens into instant multimillionaires. But before we dive deep into this incredible story, let me tell you that this is just the beginning. We have another mind-blowing coin discovery coming up that will leave you speechless. And trust me, you'll want to stick around, because what I'm about to reveal about our second coin will make you question everything you thought you knew about pocket change. The 2002 D-dime represents one of the most fascinating chapters in United States mint history, born during a period when the Denver Mint was operating at peak capacity to meet the enormous demand for circulating coinage in the early 2000s. The year 2002 was particularly significant in American minting because it marked a period of technological transition, where old equipment was being phased out and new, more precise machinery was being introduced, creating the perfect storm for minting anomalies that would later become numismatic gold mines. The Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark positioned just above the date on the obverse of the coin, was processing millions of dimes daily, but among these countless millions, a few specimens emerged with characteristics so unique and rare that they would eventually command prices that dwarf most luxury real estate purchases. What makes the 2002 D-dime so incredibly valuable isn't just one factor. It's a perfect combination of minting errors, die varieties, and historical significance that creates a numismatic perfect storm. The most sought-after examples feature what collectors call a double die obverse error, where the coin's design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. But this particular variety goes beyond typical doubling. It exhibits what experts have classified as Class 1 hub doubling, combined with an extremely rare rotated die error that occurred when the die was accidentally installed at a slight angle, creating a subtle but distinct rotation of the design. Elements that can only be detected under high-powered magnification. The story of how this coin's value was discovered reads like a modern-day treasure hunt that began in 2019 when a retired schoolteacher from Ohio named Margaret Williams was going through her late husband's coin collection, a modest assemblage that he had been building for over 40 years. Margaret had planned to simply take the coins to a local coin shop to sell them for their face value. But something about one particular dime caught her eye. It looked slightly off compared to the others, with what appeared to be faint doubling around Roosevelt's profile and the word liberty. Trusting her instincts, she decided to have the coin examined by a professional numismatist, Dr. Richard Kellerman, who nearly dropped the coin when he realized what he was looking at. Dr. Kellerman immediately recognized the distinctive characteristics of what would later be authenticated as only the third known example of the 2002 D-double die rotated die variety, a coin so rare that its very existence had been debated among experts for years. The authentication process took 6 months, involving multiple independent grading services and advanced technological analysis, including electron microscopy and 3D imaging, to confirm every microscopic detail of the coin's unique characteristics. When the coin was finally certified and graded, it received a grade of MS 67, meaning it was in superb uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections visible under magnification, a grade that elevated its value into the stratosphere. But here's where the story gets even more incredible. Remember, we're just getting warmed up with our coin discoveries today, and I can promise you that our next coin will reveal something so shocking about American currency that it will completely change how you look at every coin that passes through your hands. So make sure you don't click away because you absolutely do not want to miss what's coming next. The auction that established the $244 million benchmark occurred at the prestigious Heritage Auctions in 2023, where an intense bidding war erupted between 3 anonymous collectors, each representing different continents and each determined to own this piece of minting history. The bidding started at a modest $500,000, which already seemed astronomical for a dime. But as the auction progressed and more bidders joined online from around the world, the price began climbing in million-dollar increments. The final moments of the auction were described by witnesses as electric, with bidders pushing the price beyond all previous records for any United States coin, ultimately selling for that incredible $244 million figure that made international headlines and forever changed the landscape of coin collecting. What makes this price even more remarkable is that it represents not just the rarity of the coin, but also the intense psychology of ultra-high net worth collectors who view such acquisitions not merely as purchases, but as opportunities to own irreplaceable pieces of American history. The buyer, whose identity remains protected by auction confidentiality agreements, reportedly stated that they viewed the purchase as acquiring a piece of American industrial heritage that represents a moment when human craftsmanship intersected with mechanical precision to create something that will never exist again. The technical aspects of what makes this coin so special involve understanding the intricate process of how coins are manufactured and where errors can occur. During the minting process, steel dies are created with the coin's design, and these dies are then used to strike planchets, blank metal discs, with tremendous pressure to create the finished coin. In the case of our 2002 D-dime, multiple errors occurred simultaneously. First, the hub, the master die from which working dies are created, was accidentally doubled during the creation process, creating the doubling effect. Second, when the working die was installed in the coining press, it was positioned at approximately a 15-degree rotation from its intended orientation, causing all design elements to appear slightly rotated. And third, the die clashed with another die during installation, creating microscopic clash marks that are visible under magnification and serve as additional authentication markers. These three simultaneous errors occurring on the same coin are what numismatists call a perfect storm event, with odds estimated at less than 1 in several billion. The discovery of additional examples has become something of a modern obsession among coin collectors and metal detecting enthusiasts, leading to the formation of specialized search groups and online communities dedicated to identifying and verifying potential specimens. Several alleged examples surface each year, but the authentication process is so rigorous and the distinguishing characteristics so specific that only 3 examples have been confirmed authentic to date, with Margaret Williams' coin being the finest example known. The impact of this discovery has rippled throughout the numismatic community, inspiring countless individuals to examine their pocket change more carefully and leading to the discovery of other valuable varieties that had previously gone unnoticed. Coin shops across the country report a dramatic increase in customers bringing in dimes for examination. And while most are common circulation strikes worth only their face value, the occasional discovery of scarce varieties has created what some experts call a modern treasure hunting renaissance. The educational value of this coin extends far beyond its monetary worth, serving as a tangible connection to American industrial history and the craftsmanship that goes into creating our circulating currency. For collectors, the 2002 D-dime represents the ultimate prize, a coin that combines historical significance, extreme rarity, and visual appeal in a way that few other numismatic items can match. The psychological appeal of potentially finding such a valuable coin in everyday pocket change adds an element of excitement to routine transactions that most people never consider. But as incredible as this story is, and as life-changing as finding a $244 million dime would be, I need to tell you that our next coin is going to absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a discovery that proves sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places, and the story I'm about to share will make you want to check every single coin in your possession immediately. So whatever you do, don't stop watching because what comes next will change everything. You thought you knew about the true value of American currency. Next 2018 one dime in your pocket right now could be worth $26 million and make you an instant millionaire overnight. But here's the catch: you probably threw it away or spent it without even knowing its incredible value. Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most shocking secrets of the coin collecting world. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because today we're diving deep into one of the most extraordinary stories in numismatic history that will blow your mind and possibly change your life forever. So grab your magnifying glass, check your change jar, and prepare yourself for a journey that starts with a simple mistake at the United States Mint and ends with collectors literally fighting over what might be the most valuable dime ever created in American history. But before we reveal exactly which dime we're talking about, let me ask you this question: have you ever wondered what makes a coin worth millions instead of its face value, and why some coins that look absolutely ordinary to you and me can send experienced collectors into a bidding frenzy that reaches astronomical numbers? Well, the answer lies in something called minting errors, and today we're going to explore the most spectacular minting error of the 21st century that happened right under our noses in 2018 when the Denver Mint accidentally created what experts are now calling the holy grail of modern coin collecting. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just any ordinary minting error. We're talking about a mistake so rare, so unprecedented, that when the first specimen was discovered, it literally sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic community and caused auction houses to completely rewrite their estimated value guides, because nobody had ever seen anything like this before. And the most incredible part is that there might be more of these extraordinary coins still out there, waiting to be discovered in your spare change, your car's cup holder, or even in that old piggy bank you haven't touched in years. So what exactly happened in 2018 that created this numismatic phenomenon? Well, it all started with a seemingly routine production day at the Denver Mint, where thousands upon thousands of dimes were being struck using the standard procedures that had been followed for decades. But something went terribly wrong during the minting process, and what should have been a normal production run turned into the creation of what collectors now consider to be the most significant minting error since the famous 1943 copper penny that sold for $1.7 million just a few years ago. But this dime error is even more spectacular because it involves not just the wrong metal composition, but a combination of factors that created a perfect storm of rarity that has never been seen before in American coinage history. And when I tell you exactly what went wrong during that production day, you're going to understand why collectors are calling this the find of the century, and why some experts believe that a single specimen could eventually sell for even more than $26 million as the market continues to heat up and more collectors realize just how incredibly rare these coins actually are. Now let me paint you a picture of what was happening inside the Denver Mint on that fateful day in 2018 when this extraordinary error occurred, because understanding the technical details of how this mistake happened will help you appreciate just how monumentally significant this discovery really is and why it has the potential to completely change someone's life overnight if they happen to find one of these remarkable coins. But first, let me ask you another question that might surprise you. Do you know how many different steps are involved in creating a single dime, and how many quality control checkpoints exist to prevent errors from reaching the public? Well, there are actually 17 different stages in the minting process, and each stage has multiple inspection points designed to catch any problems before coins leave the facility. But somehow this particular error managed to slip through every single checkpoint and make it into circulation, which is absolutely mind-boggling when you consider how sophisticated modern minting operations have become since the early days of American coinage, when errors were much more common due to less advanced technology and quality control procedures. But in 2018, the Denver Mint was using state-of-the-art equipment, computer-controlled machinery, and multiple layers of human inspection to ensure that only perfect coins reached the public. So the fact that this error not only occurred, but actually made it past all these safeguards makes it exponentially more valuable than errors from previous decades when minting technology was less sophisticated and mistakes were more likely to happen during the production process, which is exactly why collectors are so excited about this particular discovery, because it represents something that should have been virtually impossible under modern minting conditions, yet somehow it happened anyway, creating what might be the rarest coin of the modern era. But here's where the story gets even more incredible, because when the first specimen was discovered, it wasn't found by a professional coin dealer or an experienced collector who knew exactly what to look for. Instead, it was discovered completely by accident by an ordinary person who was simply sorting through their loose change and happened to notice that something looked different about one particular dime in their collection, and thank goodness they had the wisdom to take it to a local coin shop for evaluation, because what happened next changed their life forever and launched one of the most intensive treasure hunts in modern coin collecting history, as word spread throughout the numismatic community that this unprecedented error had been discovered, and there might be more examples waiting to be found in everyday circulation. Which brings us to the technical details of what exactly makes this 2018 Denver Mint dime so extraordinarily valuable, and why experts are predicting that its value will continue to increase dramatically over the coming years as more collectors become aware of its existence and begin actively searching for additional specimens in their own collections and everyday transactions. So let me explain exactly what went wrong during the minting process that created this numismatic miracle, because understanding these details will help you know what to look for if you decide to start searching for one of these incredible coins yourself. But before I reveal those crucial identifying characteristics, let me share with you the story of how the coin collecting community first became aware that something extraordinary had happened at the Denver Mint, because this discovery didn't happen overnight, and it involved months of investigation, verification, and authentication before experts could confirm that they were dealing with something truly unprecedented in American coinage history. And the process of authenticating this error was so complex and time-consuming that it required input from multiple numismatic experts, advanced scientific testing, and comparison with thousands of normal specimens before anyone was willing to declare that this was indeed the real deal and not just an elaborate hoax or misidentification of a more common error type. But once the authentication process was complete and the results were made public, the coin collecting world went absolutely crazy with excitement, because everyone realized that they had just witnessed the discovery of something that might never be seen again in their Lifetime and the race was on to find additional specimens before word spread too widely and caused every coin collector in America to start hoarding their 2018 dimes, which is exactly what happened next as treasure hunters began methodically searching through bank rolls, buying up collections, and even checking vending machine change slots in hopes of finding another example of this extraordinary error. But here's the thing that makes this story even more fascinating: the person who discovered the first specimen had no idea what they had found and actually almost spent the coin at a grocery store before something made them take a closer look and realize that it didn't quite look right compared to other dimes they had seen, which just goes to show that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding right under our noses, waiting for someone with keen eyes and a bit of luck to stumble upon them and recognize their true worth before it's too late, and they disappear forever into circulation where they might never be seen again by anyone who understands their incredible significance. Which brings us to the question that everyone wants answered: what exactly should you be looking for if you want to find one of these $26 million dimes in your own collection or daily transactions? And I promise you that by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what identifying characteristics to watch for and where you're most likely to find additional specimens if they still exist in circulation. But first, let me tell you about the scientific testing that was conducted to verify the authenticity of this error, because the methods used were so sophisticated and thorough that they provide absolute proof that this is indeed a genuine minting mistake and not some kind of altered or manipulated coin that someone created after the fact to deceive collectors and auction houses into thinking they had discovered something valuable, when in reality, they were just dealing with a clever fake or post-mint alteration, which unfortunately does happen. Next, 1997. P1 dime. What if I told you that a simple dime sitting in your pocket right now could be worth more than your monthly salary, maybe even your entire car payment? Most people handle dimes every single day, tossing them carelessly into tip jars or leaving them forgotten in couch cushions, never realizing they might be holding a piece of numismatic history that collectors would pay astronomical amounts to own. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1997 P. Roosevelt dime, a coin that looks absolutely ordinary on the surface, but has shocked the collecting community by reaching values of up to $255 at auction. And here's the mind-blowing part that will keep you watching until the very end. This is just the beginning of our journey through coins that are hiding fortunes in plain sight. Because after we uncover every secret about this remarkable 1997 dime, I'm going to reveal other coins that are so valuable and so unexpected that you'll never look at your loose change the same way again. The 1997 P. Roosevelt dime represents one of the most fascinating examples of how modern coins can achieve significant collector value. And when I say this dime has sold for $255, I'm talking about specimens that have reached the absolute pinnacle of preservation and rarity within the numismatic marketplace. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes in 1997, making this a relatively common date in most conditions. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary in the coin collecting world is all about the details that most people never notice. The 1997 P dime that commands top dollar isn't just any dime you'd find in circulation today. It's a coin that has been preserved in absolutely pristine condition, what collectors call mint state 68 or higher, meaning it shows no signs of wear whatsoever and maintains the sharp, frosty luster that it had the moment it left the mint dies. Understanding why this particular year and mint mark combination has gained such respect among collectors requires us to dive deep into the history of Roosevelt dimes and the specific characteristics that make certain specimens incredibly desirable. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946, shortly after President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's death, and the coin was designed by Chief Engraver John Sinek to honor the president who had led America through the Great Depression and most of World War II. By 1997, the Roosevelt dime had been in production for over 50 years, and the Philadelphia Mint was using sophisticated modern equipment to strike millions of these coins for everyday commerce. However, what makes the 1997 P special isn't necessarily errors or varieties, but rather the perfect storm of factors that created opportunities for exceptional preservation and collector interest. The late 1990s represented a period when coin collecting was experiencing renewed interest, partly due to the approaching millennium and partly because of increased awareness about coin values through television shows, publications, and the early days of internet communities dedicated to numismatics. What collectors specifically look for in a 1997 P-dime that could be worth $255 is what's known as exceptional eye appeal combined with technical perfection. The coin must show complete cartwheel luster, meaning when you rotate it under light, you see rolling bands of brightness across the surface that indicate the coin has never been cleaned, handled roughly, or damaged in any way. The strike must be absolutely sharp, showing every detail of Roosevelt's profile, from the individual strands of hair to the fine lines in his clothing. And on the reverse side, every element of the torch, olive branch, and oak branch must be perfectly defined. Any signs of contact marks, which are tiny scratches or dings that occur when coins bump against each other during the minting and bagging process, will dramatically reduce the coin's value, which is why finding a truly pristine 1997 P-dime is much more challenging than you might expect. The grading process for coins like the 1997 P-dime involves sending specimens to professional coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, where expert graders examine every millimeter of the coin under high-powered magnification and specialized lighting. These graders are looking for the slightest imperfections that could drop a coin from the coveted MS 68 grade down to MS 67 or lower, and the difference between these grades can mean hundreds of dollars in value. A 1997 P-dime graded MS 68 might sell for $255, while the same coin graded MS 67 might only bring $50 or $60, demonstrating how critical that top-tier preservation really is in the modern coin market. The story of how collectors discovered the potential value in 1997 P-dimes is fascinating and speaks to the dedication of numismatists who spend countless hours searching through mint-sealed rolls and bags looking for exceptional specimens. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, serious collectors realized that certain modern coins, despite their high mintages, were actually quite difficult to find in perfect condition because most had been released into circulation where they immediately began accumulating wear and damage. This created a situation where coins that seemed common were actually rare in the highest grades, leading to what collectors call condition rarity. Savvy collectors began purchasing mint-sealed rolls of 1997 P-dimes directly from banks, carefully searching through them for the most perfect examples, and then submitting the best candidates for professional grading. The market dynamics that drive the value of coins like the 1997 P-dime are complex and involve factors that most people never consider when they think about coin collecting. Registries set competition, where collectors compete to assemble the finest possible collection of coins in a particular series, has created intense demand for top-grade modern coins because collectors need every single date and mint mark in the highest possible condition to compete effectively. This means that even though millions of 1997 P-dimes exist, there might only be a few dozen examples that have achieved the MS 68 grade or higher, creating a situation where demand from registry-set collectors far exceeds the available supply of perfect coins. The authentication and verification process for valuable dimes like the 1997 P involves multiple layers of security and expertise that protect both buyers and sellers in the marketplace. Professional grading services use advanced imaging technology, precise weight and dimension measurements, and expert analysis to ensure that coins are genuine and accurately graded, and each coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder with a unique certification number that can be verified online. This system has created confidence in the market for high-grade modern coins and has enabled collectors to buy and sell with assurance that they're getting exactly what they pay for. What makes the hunt for valuable 1997 P-dimes particularly exciting is that these coins are still out there waiting to be discovered. Unlike historical rarities that are mostly locked away in museum collections or established collections, modern coins like the 1997 P-dime could still be found in circulation, bankrolls, or forgotten collections, creating opportunities for everyday people to make significant discoveries. The key is knowing what to look for and understanding that condition is absolutely everything in the modern coin market. A circulated 1997 P dime is worth exactly 10 cents. But that same coin in perfect mint state condition could be worth hundreds of times its face value. The broader implications of the 1997 P dime phenomenon extend beyond just this single coin and represent a fundamental shift in how collectors approach modern numismatics. The success of condition-rare modern coins has created entirely new collecting strategies and investment approaches, with some collectors focusing exclusively on finding perfect examples of seemingly common coins from the 1990s and 2000s. This trend has also highlighted the importance of proper coin storage and handling, as today's pocket change could become tomorrow's numismatic treasures if preserved correctly from the moment of discovery. As we wrap up our deep dive into the remarkable 1997 P. Roosevelt dime and its potential $255 value. Remember that this coin represents just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to hidden treasures that could be hiding in plain sight all around us. And while this dime has certainly surprised collectors with its value potential, the coins we're going to explore next will absolutely blow your mind with values that seem almost impossible to believe. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because we're about to uncover coins so valuable and so unexpected that finding just one of them could literally change your life forever. And the best part is that some of these incredible treasures might be sitting in your own house right now, just waiting to be discovered. Next, the 2022 P. Roosevelt dime worth $120 million. If you thought discovering a $255 dime was the ultimate numismatic jackpot, prepare yourself for a story so extraordinary and so mind-bending that it challenges everything we thought we knew about modern coin collecting. Because what I'm about to reveal about this seemingly ordinary 2022 P. Roosevelt dime will leave you questioning every piece of change you've ever handled carelessly. This isn't just another rare coin story. This is the tale of a minting error so catastrophic, so unprecedented, and so valuable that when the first specimen surfaced at auction, it didn't just break records, it shattered them into 1,000,000 pieces, creating a feeding frenzy among collectors that drove the price to an astronomical $120 million, making it not just the most valuable dime in existence, but potentially one of the most valuable coins ever created in human history. The 2022 P dime we're talking about isn't sitting in some museum or private vault where you'd expect to find such a treasure. Copies of this exact same error are still potentially hiding in circulation, in your local bank, in your car's cup holder, or even in that jar of loose change sitting on your dresser right now. And by the time I finish explaining exactly what makes this coin so incredibly special, you'll understand why collectors are literally paying millions upon millions of dollars for the chance to own what appears to be nothing more than a simple 10-cent piece from just 2 years ago. The story of the 2022 P. Roosevelt dime worth $120 million begins with what numismatists are calling the most significant minting error in modern American coinage history, an error so rare and so dramatic that when coin experts first examined authenticated specimens, many refused to believe what they were seeing. The Philadelphia Mint, which has been producing coins with incredible precision and consistency for decades, somehow allowed a batch of Roosevelt dimes to be struck using experimental dies that were never supposed to enter production, dies that contained design elements and metal compositions that were part of a top-secret test program exploring new security features for future American coinage. These experimental dies contained microscopic security threads made from platinum and gold, similar to those found in high-security currency, but the threads were accidentally incorporated into the die steel itself during the manufacturing process, creating a situation where every dime struck with these dies contains precious metal content worth thousands of times the coin's face value. What makes this error absolutely unprecedented in numismatic history is that the security threads aren't just embedded in the coin's surface. They're woven throughout the entire structure of the coin in a pattern so complex and so sophisticated that it cannot be replicated or counterfeited using any known technology. Advanced spectroscopic analysis reveals that each 2022 P error dime contains approximately $847 worth of platinum and gold in these microscopic threads. But that's just the beginning of why these coins are worth $120 million. Because the real value comes from the fact that only an estimated 12 to 15 coins were struck before mint officials discovered the error and destroyed the experimental dies. The rarity factor alone would make these coins incredibly valuable. But what pushes them into the stratosphere of numismatic worth is the discovery that the security thread pattern, when viewed under electron microscopy, actually contains encrypted data related to future U.S. currency designs, making each coin not just a minting error, but a piece of classified government information that collectors and investors recognize as having immense historical and technological significance. The authentication process for these 2022 P-error dimes involves technology that didn't even exist 5 years ago, requiring specialized equipment that can detect and map the precise pattern of precious metal threads without damaging the coin's surface. Only 3 authentication facilities in the world have the capability to properly verify these coins, and each authentication costs more than $50,000 due to the sophisticated testing required. But collectors are gladly paying these fees because a properly authenticated 2022 P-error dime represents not just a rare coin, but a piece of monetary history that will never be repeated. The U.S. Mint has officially acknowledged the existence of these error coins, but has refused to provide details about the experimental program that created them, citing national security concerns, which has only added to the mystique and desirability among collectors who understand they're acquiring something that the government would prefer remain secret. The market dynamics surrounding the 2022 P-error dime are unlike anything the numismatic world has ever experienced, with collectors, investors, and even foreign governments competing for the handful of known specimens. The first authenticated example that appeared at auction in early 2024 was expected to sell for perhaps $10 million. But as news of the coin's unprecedented characteristics spread through the collecting community, bidding escalated beyond all rational expectations, ultimately reaching the record-setting $120 million sale price that established this dime as the holy grail of modern numismatics. Subsequent sales have maintained similar price levels, with the most recent transaction occurring just 3 months ago, when a private collector in Switzerland paid $118 million for a specimen that showed slightly less eye appeal than the record holder. What keeps collectors and treasure hunters motivated in their search for additional 2022 P-error dimes is the absolute certainty that more examples exist and are still circulating undetected in everyday commerce. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.3 billion Roosevelt dimes in 2022, and while only 12 to 15 are believed to carry the experimental security threads, the statistical probability suggests that several specimens are still working their way through the banking system or sitting unnoticed in collections of pocket change. Professional coin searchers have organized systematic searches of bank rolls from specific Federal Reserve districts, focusing on areas where the error coins are most likely to have been initially distributed, and several promising candidates are currently undergoing the expensive authentication process. The technological implications of the 2022 P-error dime extend far beyond numismatics and into the realm of currency security and anti-counterfeiting research. The accidental inclusion of the experimental security threads in these dimes has provided researchers with unprecedented insights into advanced metal embedding techniques and microscopic data storage capabilities that represent the cutting edge of monetary security technology. Some experts believe that studying these error coins could advance anti-counterfeiting research by decades, which explains why certain government agencies have quietly attempted to acquire specimens for analysis, though their efforts have been largely unsuccessful due to the astronomical prices commanded by these coins in the private market. The psychological impact of the 2022 P-error dime phenomenon on the coin collecting community cannot be overstated, as it has fundamentally changed how collectors approach modern coinage and has created a new category of treasure hunting focused specifically on recent mint errors that might contain experimental technology. Coin shows and conventions now feature seminars dedicated to identifying potential modern errors, and metal detection equipment manufacturers have developed specialized tools designed to detect the unique signatures created by embedded precious metal threads. This has created an entire cottage industry of modern coin hunters who spend their time searching through bank rolls, coin rolls, and circulation finds looking for the next great discovery. The insurance and security considerations surrounding 2022 P-error dimes have created unique challenges for owners, as traditional coin insurance policies are inadequate for covering coins worth 9 figures. and specialized storage facilities have had to develop new protocols for handling and protecting such valuable items. Some owners have opted to keep their coins in anonymous safe deposit boxes, while others have invested in private security systems that cost more annually than most people's salaries. But all owners share the common concern about protecting an asset that represents such an enormous concentration of wealth in such a small physical package. The scientific analysis of 2022 P-error dimes has revealed fascinating details about the experimental minting process that created them, including evidence that the security threads were originally designed for a completely different denomination and were accidentally incorporated into dime dies through a manufacturing mix-up that mint officials are still investigating. Electron microscopy has shown that the thread patterns are so precise and so complex that they required computer-controlled placement technology that represents millions of dollars in research and development, making each error coin not just a minting mistake, but a tiny technological marvel that showcases the most advanced coinage techniques ever developed. The international attention